Hi, everybody. It is Kathy, and I love to be selling. Come on in, sellers. I'm answering a question today that was submitted to me actually by several sellers. And when you have questions, feel free to post them under my videos on my Facebook page. You can go to my website and message me, but definitely ask questions because it gives me ideas for things to stream on. And actually, the best way to get a hold of me is with my email. So that would be I love to be selling at gmail.com. And feel free to ask questions because when a bunch of you ask the same question, absolutely, I jump in and I do a video for you on that. So I got a lot of questions. And this just doesn't happen now that we're into the holiday selling season, fourth quarter. This can actually happen. Hi, Paula. How are you? Good to see you. This can happen any time of year. But several sellers have been messaging me saying, Kathy, my sales are just so up and down. Is there any way to sort of keep them up, right? We don't want to keep them down. We want to keep them up. Hi, Sharon. How are you? But how do we keep them up? Because my sales are going up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. So if you find that happening to you, now if it happens every now and then, things happen every now and then, but if it's happening regularly, how are you, Pam? Oh, this is fun. It's like, yay, yay, yay. Couple of things to think about. So if you notice your sales are going up and down and up and down and up and down, I noticed this. If you don't know, I worked in brick and mortar retail. Hi, Cheryl. How are you? I worked in brick and mortar retail here in New York City for over 20 years. I also noticed the same trend when I was selling live on QVC. And when I was on QVC, I also got to watch other people present. And in the green room. So when you present on QVC, you're typically there hours before your presentation because you need to meet with the host. So then after you meet with the host, you're in what's called the green room, which is the holding area where all the presenters are that are going to be going on that afternoon. And the great thing about the green room area is you get to watch everybody's presentation on monitors. There's monitors all over the green room. Also, we have monitors where we can see the sales. And we can also see the call volume because realize everything with QVC, back then everything was on the phone. Now I'm sure the monitors would show, the website traffic, the online traffic, as well as the call-in traffic. But this would also happen in brick and mortar retail. And I'm sure you've encountered this when you're out shopping, but you may not have really sort of tuned into it. So I would walk into a store like Macy's, okay? Or I walk into a store like Crate and Barrel. And I'd walk in, this would be like mid-morning typically. I'd walk in and maybe half a dozen people, maybe 3 or 4 people. And sometimes you walk in and it's like you and maybe one other person. I mean, it's really quiet, right? And you're doing your shopping, you're picking your things. This can happen at the supermarket too, right? So you're picking the things you want and you turn around and you go to the checkout. All of a sudden there's like 30 people there, 40 people there, 50. I mean, there's a line, right? And when you came in, there was no one or very few people. It's like, what happened? Now, sometimes with the store, with brick and mortar in New York, and I know other places too, there might be somebody outside and they're handing out samples or they're handing out flyers and coupons, and that's bringing traffic in. But typically, there's really no reason. It's just the ebb and flow of e-commerce. You came in, there weren't a lot of people shopping. And then you turn around 20 minutes later, half an hour later, there's 40 people shopping. And what I do is I call that the ebb and flow of e-commerce. So again, some days, and it is very frustrating. Some days it's just, oh my gosh, it's crickets, right? And some days you've got more returns. This is terrible when this happens. You have more returns than you have sales. You're like, ah. And that's why my new sellers do not spend your eBay money until you're past typically the 30-day return period. But anyway, there's an ebb and flow. And just some days are very, very slow. Some days are very, very busy, with all things being equal, which is that you have pretty much a set routine. You're listing regularly, you're tweaking regularly, you're doing some kind of social media regularly. So it's not like you've done anything dramatically different. So just know if you keep doing the right thing, you will see the sales go up. And typically some degree of up and down is normal. And what you will discover for what you sell And again, some sellers are very niche sellers and only sell very specific things. Like you might just sell crafts, or you might just sell home appliances or electronics or women's clothing, certain styles or prices of women's clothing or kids' clothing. So it's going to range. Like right now, toys and games are pretty much flying off the shelf, everybody that I talk to. Okay. So again, ebb and flow. So that is very, very normal. And what a good thing to do, and you can do this very easily by just checking your solds on eBay. And also when you log into eBay and Seller Hub, you can see your 30-day sales trend. And I always check, how am I doing this past week? How am I doing this past month? It will show you whether you are up and down. And it's good to keep an eye on that. Okay. So one is ebb and flow to e-commerce. It just happens. The next thing is if you typically, let's say you typically sell, I'm just going to pick a dollar, like $200 a week, or you sell $2,000 a week. Now, all of a sudden it spikes up, yay. But let me tell you something. If all of a sudden it spikes up, like typically you do 200 and all of a sudden you're doing 300 or 400, pause, just for a second, because you're going to be busy shipping, but pause, go and look at what you've done like for the past 7 or 14 days. And keeping a journal is really helpful, a paper journal, or if you want to do it electronically with some kind of note taking, I've got a to-do thing that I jot down notes on my phone. But go back very quickly and look at the last 7, 14, 30 days, because oftentimes things have a cumulative effect, and really analyze, what did you do? Did you list a little more than you normally do? Are you testing, or do you have new inventory in a category that you don't normally sell in and it's doing really well? Let's say you haven't been selling men's socks and you got a great load of men's socks at a little thrift store or consignment store or retail store that you're flipping. And you know what you found is that men's socks really sell, or you got some great kids' toys, and wow, perfect for fourth quarter, right? But really take a look at, and that's why checking your solds can really help, even if you're a soup to nuts seller, and look at what has really been selling recently, not 6 months ago or a year ago. What's selling right now? Is it gloves and mittens? Is it scarves? Is it sweaters, toys, puzzles, bookends, vases? What earrings, what's selling? Can you see any kind of trend? Even my soup to nuts sellers, like, wow, bracelets are really selling right now. Wow, the socks are really selling right now. Wow, those sneakers, whatever it is, take note. And again, so you're taking notes. Wow, this is really selling. Like I typically sell one of this kind, even if you're a thrift store shopper. I typically maybe only sell one pair of men's shoes, and all of a sudden now I'm selling one a week or one a day. So just quickly take notes what general categories or specific items are selling when you see a spike up, because what you're looking for is to continue that trend. So for instance, let's say I notice that men's shoes are doing really well over the past 30 days. Then look at where you source. Can I go there? Am I able to, I may not be able to get that same style or kind or whatever, but can I get more men's shoes? Look at the price range. Made in USA. Are they Italy? Is everything like in the $30, $40 range? Also check sizes if it's clothing of any kind. Wow, the double X is really selling, or the ladies petite is really, just notice what is selling. Then for your sources of inventory, okay, without changing a thing, can you go and specifically really focus on finding more of that or that general category? Why? Because it is selling right now. So can I get more? The reverse. I look and typically I sell $200 a week, $2,000 a week, and all of a sudden, bam, it's 100 or less. From 2,000, all of a sudden I drop to 1,000, right? And you've got bills to pay. You're running a business. And when I say you're running a business, it doesn't mean necessarily that you're a full-time seller. Running a business means I'm having a business mindset. I enjoy it. I love my eBay selling, but I run it as a business. As much as I enjoy it, I'm doing it to make money. If I typically get about $200 a week from my eBay and it drops to 100, that means I'm going to be needing to make changes, right? So, because that could be gas for my car. That could be money I'm saving for our family vacation. That could be money I'm saving for a home renovation or towards my children's college fund. Okay. So when there's a big drop, it impacts us. Same thing. Go and look at your solds and look at your solds. What typically is selling and is not selling. So if I typically sell a lot of crafts, or again, back to the men's shoes, if I typically sell a lot of men's shoes and all of a sudden they're not selling, look at what I have listed and just grab like 3 or 4 listings. You can grab 3 or 4 recent listings. Just open up one screen. I do this on a desktop. You can do it on mobile, but I do it on a desktop because it's just easier. And sometimes I'll have like 10 windows open. And I open a window. I go onto eBay. I'm not even checking other websites. I'm not even checking the web. All I'm doing is checking eBay. And you may think you have the most unusual, unique, one-of-a-kind item, and you might. But believe it or not, even with unique, one-of-a-kind items, there's other wonderful sellers that are sourcing too, and they can find things that are similar to yours or really similar to those really cool shoes that you thought are really hard to find. Anyway, go and look. Do you have a competitor? Go and check solds, and you don't even need to use Terapeak on this. Just do advanced search and then just check. Completed is the first one to check, and I'll tell you why. Because when you check completed on eBay, if it hasn't sold, you can tell it hasn't sold, right? If it sells, it's in green. So if you see a lot of items in the category that you're selling, and typically it was pretty good, like you were selling a lot. I'm trying to pick up a brand. My husband likes Cole Haan shoes. So if I've been sourcing Cole Haan shoes and other shoes similar to Cole Haan shoes, and I've been selling maybe a pair every couple of weeks or maybe a pair once a month, and all of a sudden it's not selling at all. Before you go crazy, just go and see if it's some kind of trend. Like, are other people's Cole Haan shoes selling? This can be the same thing with a puzzle or a game or a style. Whoop, I'm getting a question. Okay, it's just go and see if it's selling. If it's not selling, then you know you're not alone. I mean, sometimes they're just not shopping for Cole Haan shoes right now. Okay, so you just have to be patient. But while you're there, check your prices. Like, is there somebody else with one that's similar to your size, check color, right? Because if you have brown shoes and there's a white shoe that's very similar to yours, a brown shoe and a white shoe is very different. So a white shoe is not really a competitor. But just sort of look at the pricing, look at what they're doing, and just know, like, okay, it's just a little slow right now. I get to just be patient. If it is a category, and this does happen every now and then, where typically the Cole Haan shoes, let's say we're selling, and I haven't sold any Cole Haan recently, so I'm just guessing. So typically used men's Cole Haan shoes that are brown and black, in good condition, right? They're not too worn down. They're not, vintage. They're not super old or very unusual style. So let's say they typically sell for like $30, $40. And all of a sudden, all the ones that are selling are more like $15. That just means people have really dropped the price low. It could be people that are selling out of their closet. So you can pop over and look at them. Is this a casual seller? Somebody who's just sort of unloading their closet? If they are, then again, you just have to be patient and let those people sell out, and then your stuff will sell. Or sometimes you will have a competitor. So you'll see, okay, this seller, they got a lot of listings and they got a bunch of Cole Haan, which means they found some kind of clearance, or they were at a thrift store and somebody cleaned out all their Cole Haan and donated to the thrift store, and this person bought it. Whatever it is, and all of a sudden the price has really dropped. Then what you have to decide for your item is, at the price that I got, I mean, if I got it for like $1, I can afford to sell it for 15 plus shipping, right? Because I'm still making good money. But if I paid a higher amount, you got to look at, I might need to just sort of sit tight. This may take 8, 9, 10 months or a year to sell, but I'm going to sit tight for now because I don't want to drop the price too much because of my price margins. Okay. So number one, when your sales are going up and down and up and down and up and down, if it is normal for you, just know it's normal. It's ebb and flow. It's the people when you walk into a store, okay, and there's just a few people, and then you turn around and there's 30 people. So you're experiencing what I call the ebb and flow of e-commerce. If your sales are typically at a certain level, 200 a week, 2,000 a week, and all of a sudden there's a real spike up, yay, right? You're like, yay, right? Go and look at what you did. It's wonderful to celebrate, right? It's great to pack the sales, but what you want to do is you want to replicate whatever it is you did. Okay. Did you list a little more? Did you change your rate on your promoted listings? Have you been doing more social media? Have you changed a little bit how you source? So perhaps you've been sourcing less men's clothing and you're sourcing more kids, less kids, more men's. You added a bunch of toys and the toys are exploding because it's fourth quarter. Just go and look at what you did. Take notes. And this is a big thing because you swear you're going to my eBay journal. You swear you're going to remember. And you know what happens 3 months from now? And you're going, was it the toys or the puzzles? Like you can't remember. So jot it down what you did. I bumped the promoted listings rate. I started sharing more regularly on Facebook, whatever it is. And that's why when you're doing things, you want to jot it down so you're able to, keeping a running journal is not a bad idea of things that you're doing with your eBay listings. And this is true whether you have a store or not. And same thing too, if all of a sudden your sales really drop, which can happen. And certain categories, by the way, are very trendy. I used to sell a lot of fitness. Fitness is great, but fitness is really trendy. I mean, it's hot, 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 hot. And then you cannot give the stuff away. I mean, it's amazing. But again, you make great money. You just got to know when to bail. Okay. So look, when it goes up, 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 quickly look. What did you do over the past 30 days? And you might think, oh, that's just like a little thing. Little things add up. If you were typically listing 3 things a day and you've been listing 5, that's almost 50% more daily you're listing. So all of that, jot it down, jot it down, jot it down. Why? Because I want to be able to replicate it. I want to be able to do it again. If my sales are really up, I want to sustain it. Okay. And again, if it's down, did I change anything? Is anything different? But then go and check the solds. Even in really, I'm going to say steady categories like men's shoes, women's shoes, kids' toys, puzzles. I'm trying to think of stuff, camping equipment, sporting goods. Within that, there's always up and down. There's always trends. I'm thinking of a good friend of mine that sells golf equipment. And the newer the club, like the ones that are just released, they're much pricier. But once they're out for a certain amount of time, he said like they'll really spike up like right at the beginning. And then once it's out, the price will start to drop because what happens oftentimes is people will buy the club because they want to use it. It's like, hey, I've got this club. And then they'll sell it. They'll get rid of it, because they're ready, because they are very trendy. They want the next new club. And when they do that, the price drops down. Why? Because all these people that bought the club brand new are now selling their used clubs. So just spikes up, go and look. What's going on? Can I analyze why it's up? Is it a category trend? Is it something that I've been doing? Yay, if it is something I've been doing, right? Because yay, my social media has been paying off. And then the other thing is when it drops, is it a trend? Is it an eBay trend? Sometimes some categories just go flat for a couple of weeks. Sometimes they go flat for a couple of months. Is it something like fitness where it was a super hot product for like 3 months and gangbusters and it was flying out the door and then it's just dead? And you just got to keep an eye on those things because then you need to know when to dump it or just drop the price, get rid of it. Sometimes you just got to get rid of it and move on. But look, because again, the temptation is, first of all, when sales go up, you're like, yay. But you do want to take a look at why they went up, to analyze why they went up so you can keep them up or keep them more up. So it's less the up, down, more the up, 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 up. And same thing, if it goes down, oftentimes we'll just sort of, grab our eBay buddies and go, which is fine, get the feelings out. But to look at what's going on, pointing fingers and doing, oh, evil eBay, or what I call the sky is falling people. I get it. And there are times when eBay is extremely frustrating, when there's category changes and huge shifts in item specifics, which are no fun. But if that's going on, like the category changes that happened this fall, that happened in collectibles, all the collectible sellers were dealing with it. So it's like, I'm not alone. So it's like, okay, The faster I can deal with this and be proactive about it, the better off I'm going to be. The same thing happened with clothing sellers a year ago. There were big category changes, and then we all had to deal with a lot of changes in item specifics. When that's going on, you do your best to adapt to the changes, but keep moving forward, because the faster you can move forward and to adapt to whatever eBay changes that eBay throws our way. There's been a bunch of changes in eBay stores with the look. The faster you can, and I have YouTubes on that, by the way. So if you hop over to my YouTube channel, Kathy Terrell YouTubes, you'll see that, because the faster you can jump in and start using those marketing banners, it's going to help you with your eBay store. But always try to figure out, okay, if it's down, down, down on my sales, what's going on? Have I changed anything? Even the smallest practice, can like, if you've been pretty regular with social media and all of a sudden you really haven't been doing any for a couple of weeks, it does matter, because that's traffic to your items. So take an analysis, journal, either paper or electronically, because it really, really helps. Because I want you to be proactive about your eBay selling. But that's why the ebb and flow. I've got help for you. So as you're going through your listings, and if you find, when I really need to just, I need to update my listings, take a look at some of the recommended item specifics. Maybe there are some that I could include, because that's going to help me. If there is a recommended item specific that applies to your listing, a lot of them don't. It's good to include. For instance, with clothing, they have seasons, and seasons are great ones to add, because people do search winter sweater, spring sweater. So when you have clothing, look for those seasons. They are recommended, but they're really wonderful recommended item specifics, because they are search terms that people are using. But I've got a great free tip sheet called eBay Listings That Sell. And it is loaded with tips to help you with your eBay listings. And all you got to do is hop over to my website, ilovetobeselling.com. And when you do, you're going to see Fall Winter Essential. And when you see that, in the upper right-hand corner, you see a little drop down. It says free tips. When you do that, you're going to be able to hover over and click eBay Listings That Sell. So you're going to go to my website, ilovetobeselling.com. And then what you're going to do is click the hover, and you're going to click eBay Listings That Sell. It is a completely free guide. It is just for you. Grab it and use it for your listings. Paul is saying, yes, 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 price margins. Yes, watch your margins. Sometimes it's worth it to drop in and just get rid of it. And sometimes you go, especially if you've got more than one. So let's say you were at a thrift store, a consignment store, and you got two of the wonderful purple cell phone cases, and somebody's got one in for super cheap, but they only have one, and maybe you have two or three. Let them sell it. Let them sell it, and then yours will sell. Paul is saying, moving forward now. Absolutely. Yes, Sharon, freebie tips just for you. Tim's saying, my biggest boom in sales was when the pandemic started and everyone was trapped at home. Yes, 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 yes. And that's why I'm saying, look, because if something was a really big seller, for instance, puzzles, which still sell very well, sold really well at the beginning of the pandemic, because people were at home, they wanted family activities, and there was a huge boom in puzzles and board games. They are still popular, but if you were researching solds or popular items from data from a year ago, those were pandemic prices and pandemic trends, and things are different. So always evaluate when things drop. Why? Right? I know it's like, yes, scream, but then go and look at your numbers. Look at your solds. What is selling? Can I get more at the places that I shop? And I may not be able to get more of the exact same item, but within that category, okay? Like puzzles. Okay, I can't get that exact puzzle, but are there other puzzles? And then check what the sold prices are. Don't keep investing in inventory that's not selling. You want to be investing in inventory that's selling now, because you want healthy cash flow, right? Healthy cash flow means we can pay our bills. Yay! Because we're in a business. So grab my eBay Listings to Sell to help you, help you, help you. And remember, ebb and flow. Things ebb and flow, but let's let it flow up. Okay? Great, everybody. Bye-bye.